Hello guys, I can get closer.
Yeah.
Hey guys, so this is part 2. Call this tape 1 side B. We should do that. We should call yours tape 1 side A and then tape 1 side B.
God.
That's perfect. So we're gonna be discussing some more stuff about 13 Reasons Why Season 2 and some more personal stories from high school and some more issues that we wanted to bring up. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about was depression and suicide, because so many kids in high school go through that. Like what you told about your story, how yours related so much to Hannah and mirrors her life so much. That happened to so many girls. So my own thing with bullying in high school wasn't really as much bullying as abandonment by all friends. What happened was I was the weird kid who was into stuff that other people were not into. Everybody in high school when I went was into hip hop, rap, and whatever popular shit was playing on the radio. I was into Hanson. Nobody was into Hanson. So a lot of people were giving me shit about that. And then I like to write fanfics in classes. And my fanfics became really popular amongst my friends actually. And I would pass them hey, I wrote another chapter in math class. So I had this group of Armenian girlfriends, and every morning they would get together right outside of Hoover, on those brick little seats and steps that you can sit on, and they would do their makeup. And they would do their makeup over and over until it looked perfect, and they were so obsessed with their looks, and they only cared about boys and cars. That's all they cared about, and makeup. That's all they cared about. And we were friends for maybe a year. We did some fun stuff together, and then I show up to school one day, and literally out of nowhere, they're like, "Kitty, we have something to tell you." And I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "So we decided that we don't want to be friends with you anymore because you're a bitch."
What the hell?
And I'm like, okay, I know I have a lot of issues, but being a bitch is literally not one of them at that point in high school. I was so innocent, little virgin girl, does not do anything, does not know drugs, nothing. I was not a bitch in any way. And they were like, "Yeah, we can't be friends with you anymore because you're a bitch." And I was like, what? And they all abandoned me.
Oh my God.
Even the girl who considered to be my best friend, the girl who was going through depression herself, and I actually helped her because she was going through bulimia, anorexia, depression, suicide, and I helped her through so much of that shit, and she abandoned me completely. And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" So this summer between 9th grade and 10th grade, I had no friends. I spent that summer completely alone. My birthday, which is in July, I had no friends. My parents did not celebrate my birthday. They didn't even say happy birthday to me that day. I sat outside with my neighbor's cat hanging out. That was my 16th birthday. It was fucking awful. And that lonely feeling is I feel what pushes a lot of kids to do really awful things, either commit suicide or pick up a gun and start shooting somebody else. Which is why I think when Tyler was pushed over the edge so much, I could see immediately, I'm like, that's it, that's gonna be the catalyst of him snapping. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about is how that jock frat boy mentality is so toxic and awful. One of the classmates from my grade, who I wasn't close friends with, but I knew him, and I'm not gonna mention his name because one of my close friends that was his best friend, and I don't want to bring it up. It's still really hard for him to talk about it actually, because that was his best friend. This kid was such a nice kid. He was in band class and he was friends with everybody. He was the kind of person even though he was super popular, if you were the most unpopular kid in school, he would totally just talk to you it's no big deal, and he would treat you with respect. He was that kind of kid. What happened was after high school he left and went to college and joined a fraternity, and I think that fraternity mentality got so toxic and awful, he came back home and he killed himself. And it was so fucking awful because I knew what a good person he was, and I was like, what the fuck did they do to him? How far did they push him that he felt so alone and so disgusted with life that he had to do that? That's so awful. And I feel whenever any of my friends have ever felt depressed, I'm immediately do you need me? I am there. Whatever you need, I'm there. Because I just do not ever want to lose anybody like that ever again. That's it was fucking horrible. And And then with the whole school shooting thing, the thing that like you just found out today, which you didn't even know. Let me make sure that this is recording. Okay, hold on a second. So what happened? Well, what happened was, so there was this goth kid in school. He liked to dress all in black, obviously, and he liked to wear vampire things to school because he was really into vampires, as a lot of kids were at the time. We were all obsessed with like Anne Rice and Buffy, and like vampires were cool. So a lot of kids didn't like that he was wearing like fangs to school and started bullying him for it. To top it all off, the school administrators at our school were so shitty that they started telling him not to dress the way that he was dressing and to stop wearing the fangs like he was hurting anybody. They were like, yeah, you can't wear those to school. Why? Well, he's not hurting anyone. He's not like running around biting people going, I'm Edward Cullen. You know, like that's not what he was doing. He literally just wanted to dress a certain way because he was also pagan, like myself, and he was Wiccan actually, and he was like wearing pentagrams, and they had a problem with him wearing pentagrams, and his mom had to talk with the school, and he was like, leave my kid alone. This is his religion. This is how he feels like dressing. You need to leave him alone. But they still kept making a big deal about the whole fangs thing, and so other kids caught on. They're like, oh, cool, school's not cool with it, so let's make fun of him even more. So they started really making fun of him, and he talked to me one day. In fact, I remember exactly where we're sitting. You remember when you go into Hoover from like the auditorium side, like that gate? You know, is there still like a stone table right there?
I don't remember.
There used to be like a stone table right outside to like where the entrance to the auditorium would be. And we were sitting right there, and he told me, he's just like, he told me he's got access to a gun. I don't remember if it was his dad's gun or his uncle's gun. And he was like, I'm totally gonna bring the guns to school one of these days and shoot those motherfuckers. Like, he was just like, I'm gonna kill all those bastards. And I'm like, please do not do that. I'm like, I am begging you, please do not do that. And he was like, not sure. And he kept saying like, if I ever do decide to do it, I will like text you, or no, we didn't have phones, but he was like, I will email you or something, like I will let you know ahead of time so that you don't come to school that day. Jesus. He wanted to literally protect me and like my friends. He's like, I will let you know so that you and Steph like don't come to school that day, because we were friends with him. And I was like, I want you to reconsider. I'm like, please do not do it, because you wouldn't just be hurting like those asshole jocks. You could potentially hurt so many more kids who are completely innocent, just like you. And I talked some sense into him, and he eventually decided not to do it, obviously. Thank God. Because then that would have been yet another tragedy that I would have had to live through.
Holy crap.
Like, I didn't live through enough in Hoover. But I was so happy that like I had the courage to just like calmly talk to him about it.
You were
and,
like Clay Jensen.
Please.
I swear to God, when Clay was talking to Tyler, and you know, they talk about about in the after show, they're like, obviously don't do that. That's very dangerous and risky. In that situation, run away and hide. But if you know the person well enough, I feel like, obviously I wasn't even in danger from that guy. It sounded like he even had a gun at the time. But I was like, listen dude, I talked to him like a completely normal person. I was just like, I feel you. I hate those fuckers too. But if you do this, it's gonna be, first of all, you're either gonna go to jail or you're gonna die. Those are the only two options that will result at the end of this. I'm like, do you want your life to end, or do you want to like get the fuck out of high school and live a better life? And I was like, you should just strive for that. I'm like, don't do this, because you're gonna hurt so many more people. And just me, what if, okay, me and Steph survive, but what if like 20 other kids are dead?
Right.
And so he thank God, decided not to do it. And I was just like, oh.
Wow.
Yeah, crisis.
Do you think he would have actually done it?
Had he been pushed enough, let's say the same thing that happened to Tyler happened to that kid, maybe.
Wow.
Maybe, yeah. Because when you push somebody enough and they feel like they have nothing else to lose, when you take somebody's like pride and like everything away like that, yeah, it can push somebody to like fucking act like that. So I was like really happy that I could calmly sit him down and talk to him about it, because no one else would have known about it. Like, you know, I can't even believe that he told me.
Yeah.
I was just like, fuck. In that moment, all these like thoughts are going through your head, and you're just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, I'm panicking. But I was just like, chill, calm down, just talk to him like a normal person, and like hopefully he will see some sense. And thank God that he did, because had it been the other way, it would have been like even more awful. Because every year in Hoover somebody died. Every fucking year, so there was like a gang related death in Hoover. I was like, I can't.
There's a lot of that.
I can't handle any more deaths. Please stop it.
Yeah, there was that one girl that I used to be friends with in middle school who, in high school, we weren't friends at that time in high school, but she committed suicide because she was bullied to death.
But when did you learn about this? Wasn't this like, did you learn about it recently?
No, dude, this was in high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I came to school one day and everyone started crying. I'm like, what's going on? She's like, oh yeah, this person killed herself.
No.
And this was the girl that I used to be like friends with
really
in middle school. Yeah. And then I just heard that like her best friend went to her house. Like she basically committed suicide in her best friend's home, like hung herself from the ceiling.
No.
That's what I heard. Yeah. So like her best friend, I don't even know how she got access to her house. Maybe she had like extra spare keys.
I'm sure, yeah, if you're best friends, you literally just walk in,
But it's awful,
right?
like you go to your house and you see your friend
Oh my
hanging.
god, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
That was awful. And there was another experience that wasn't like suicide related, but that girl in the morning, straight in the morning in middle school, while I was in middle school, got hit by a car right in front of our school.
I remember that. That was
and she was like murdered on the way to like, but like she was killed all the way
by
to,
accident. It was an accidental
it
death,
was,
but
dude, it was just accidental. It wasn't on purpose.
But it was so traumatizing for all the kids because a lot of them, like, their classrooms faced that street. So a lot of them had like the front view of everything that was going on. And the way it happened, it was really bad because she got run over. And it was really horrible.
That is awful.
Yeah. Sure, there was a lot of shit. So like watching 13 Reasons Why, I feel like me and you can relate to a lot of the shit in high school because a lot of the stuff happens. And on Twitter, I kept seeing a lot of people saying, you know, like, they should not have portrayed Tyler's scene. Like, they should not have shown that scene. Which I disagree with. I know that that can be really hard to watch for some people, like, if you've been sexually assaulted, like, if you've been raped. Like, obviously, that would be really hard for you to watch. But generally, I think that scene is so important because it shows that, A, this happens to boys too, not just girls, and B, this happens to actually in a lot of high schools, this specific thing, the whole like rape with a broom handle, it specifically happens like in a lot of high schools. If I can, I'm gonna find news clippings and post them right here on the screen so that you guys can see, like, I'm not kidding around. The producers of the show specifically based that on events that happened in high schools throughout the US. This is like a weird jock fraternity bullshit thing, like where, you know, you're like, I'm so cool, let me show you my power by like raping you. What the hell? So, you know, there are high schools where like none of this ever happens, and the biggest problem, I think this one kid on Twitter was like, the worst thing that ever happens in my school is somebody getting caught for like vaping. And I'm like, if that's your high school, that's great. That's terrific. That means that your high school is doing a good job at protecting you guys. And if there are any issues, they're probably squashing that shit pretty quickly. But not a lot of high schools are that safe.
Exactly.
And even our high school, which is in a pretty safe neighborhood in freaking Glendale, California, even that high school was not that safe. In fact, there's a whole gate that's built around the school now. That gate did not exist when I went to high school. Was that there when you went? Okay. They put that up after my years because they realized a lot of kids were ditching.
Me.
And then they were also trying to protect, I think, the kids within the school. After the whole Columbine thing, which happened when I was in high school, they put metal detectors temporarily.
What?
Did they ever do that to you guys? Yeah, they put metal detectors one day. I don't know if they were there for a week, but they were there for a few days. And every day we had to come through the metal detectors and like check in our backpacks, and like they would like look through our backpacks and everything.
I've never been through that.
They would check our lockers, our backpacks, like several people's lockers were like investigated and like shit was open. And that was, I think, around the time that goth kid got in trouble for like wearing pentagrams or whatever, because they were all like, oh, Satan culture or whatever, like they're Satanists, which like Satan has nothing to do with paganism anyway, so I have no idea why they always go to that. But like, it was crazy. They went crazy after that, and it was, instead of like, hey, let's talk about like, you know, our mental health and like let's help kids get through high school, it was like exactly what Liberty High did, which is like, don't talk about it, squash it. Let's just check everybody's backpacks. Let's just like fucking put metal detectors for a few days, and then let's just never mention it again.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Sim's cat.
Aw.
Why is it that people do that? That's so stupid. Like when
Yeah.
people, like when parents or like school administrators are like, let's just like not talk about it, don't bring it up, because yeah, not talking about suicide is somehow gonna make everything better.
Exactly.
It's so stupid. What is this cat doing?
He like.
He's looking for love. Aw.
Remember my friend that I used to have for a while in high school that we stopped being friends with in the middle of school, but she was going through severe depression, but I didn't really know. And then I was trying to give her advice to tell her, you know, go to the counselors, you have to. I think she was going through like some bullying, and then she was going through mostly like family problems like me. Her mom was so strict, like severely strict, and like probably, I don't know, maybe abusive. I'm not really sure what happened in that family, honestly. But she was telling me one day on Facebook, like, I need to show you something tomorrow.
Oh wow.
And I was like, okay. So I went to the lockers, and then she's like, I need to show you something. And I was like, okay. So she pulled up her sleeves, and it was all cuts.
Oh man.
Yeah. So she was cutting herself severely, and then some kids saw it, and they were looking, and they're like, oh shit.
Oh,
so I think
no.
like news spread quickly, and then there were people in class literally making fun of her for her wrists, making fun of the
That's
fact that
terrible.
she was cutting herself. And she was really a strong ass bitch though, because she would come to school purposely with sleeveless shirts and be like, yeah, what? So like, I'm
Good for her.
showing my pain, but I'm not afraid to show it, you
Good,
know?
yeah,
And
wow.
she deliberately was like, you know, not afraid to like cover it up. And people were like making fun of her like crazy, like, oh, you cut yourself, you're trying to die, blah, blah, blah. And she was like crying to me like a lot. Like, we both have both had our own issues in a way. But I hope, like, honestly, she's doing okay right now, because after I left school, she stopped talking to me because she felt abandoned because I
Wow.
left school, but it wasn't because of her. I felt like also
Yeah.
depressed and
Right, you were
suicidal.
going through your own shit.
So I left.
And you had to leave that school because it was just a toxic
It's too
environment.
much. And I left, and she was like, peace, going out with some new friends who care
Oh,
about
wow.
me, which I loved her, you know? So it was like a misunderstanding, and we never talked since.
I feel
But I
you.
really do hope she's okay. I don't know what the
Maybe
hell
you can
happened.
reconnect later in life or something.
I don't know. I had a dream about her last night.
You
She
did?
was.
Weird.
Last night. Oh my god. It was last night.
It just came to you, huh?
Yeah. I
Wow.
was talking about her.
Huh.
That's crazy.
You know what? It happens like that. I once had a dream about this very specific boy that I used to be friends with. He was also like bullied a little bit, and I ended up being his friend because he was very short. And short boys always get made fun of, right? Because like,
Yeah.
you're not a man because you're short. Like, what the fuck? And so I one time had a dream about him, and then I opened up Eric's yearbook and I was looking through it, and I saw him, and I was like, that kid! I was friends with him. I remember that kid.
Yeah.
Bitch, the next day I run into him in the grocery store.
What?
It was crazy. We
That's
stopped and we were
insane.
like, and then we talked and we were just like, oh my god, how you doing? And I was just like, we like reconnected a little bit, and it was like such a nice moment.
Yeah.
It's crazy when that happens.
That's insane.
Yeah. So like the point of this is I feel like it's good to build like a support network around you, because high school is such a difficult time that
Yeah.
if especially if your parents are shitty and then you go to high school and like there's shitty people there too, it's really important to like build as many like of like little networks around you of like good friends as much as you can. And if you can, like include trusted teachers and counselors, do that too. I actually went to a counselor once in high school because I was like so depressed about mom and like not like getting along with her that I was just like, I need to talk to somebody about it. And this counselor actually told me something that like stayed with me through all these years, and it was actually very like good advice, and it wasn't like bullshit like oh kind of like get over it thing. It was like, she was like, listen, she went through something similar. She's just like, I had a bad stepmom that would just never accept me. And she's like, if from what you're telling me, it sounds like your mother is never gonna be the person who's gonna like accept you no matter what you do. Like you're never gonna be good enough for this person. It's like, and it's like there's nothing wrong with you. It's just that she is never gonna think that you're good enough. So you need to start protecting yourself, and you need to like realize that maybe your life is just going to be completely away from hers, because there's no way, like nothing you can do will ever be good enough for her. You
Yeah.
can win trophies, you can build mountains, you mount monuments, you can like win awards, doesn't matter. Like she's still gonna hate you. And some people are just like that, and I was just like, you're fucking right. And eventually I came to the realization that it's just like, I can't please this woman. I can't even be in her life because she's so awful and toxic. She would just like literally call me at work just to scream at me on the phone while I'm already going through like a difficult time or something. She just like finds the time in her day to call me at work and just scream at me for no reason. And eventually I was just like, you know what? I'm done with you, mom. And I was just like, I'm finished. I'm like, you are not a good person.
Yeah.
I do not care that you gave birth to me. you are a toxic piece of shit. And that was it. And I had to close the door on that relationship.
Yeah.
And like, if you like have such a shitty parent at home, it's really important to find as many friends as you can at high school who are like similar to you in a way, so you can like have somebody to lean on. And till this day, I have my friends' parents who are like parents to me. Steph's mom, like Deb, she's basically like a mom to me. I call her Mumsy, for heaven's sake. My friend Alan's dad is helping us buy a freaking home. Like, all of my friends' parents have been there for us since high school, except for mine.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? So
we went through the same issues, just different times. Isn't that
exactly,
crazy?
I know.
We
like,
both went
just
depressed for
13
the
years apart,
same
some shit.
reason.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And now you're kind of friends with like a lot of your friends' parents too. Like you come over and you can hang with them.
Yeah.
And that's really cool too. Like, it's so cute how like Justin got adopted by like Clay's parents and everything. I'm like, because that's kind of what happens. You like built your own little family, and it's cool that like he was able to do that.
Hell, I wish I was adopted by another
I
family.
know, we're like,
Adopt me.
can the Jensens adopt us too, please?
Seriously.
Mom, be our mom and dad. They're so cute.
Yeah.
Let's wrap this up by saying that like if you guys ever need anybody to talk to, we are totally here for you. I'm gonna include phone numbers and information about like suicide prevention hotlines and like some resources that you can reach out to. And you know, even though I'm just a stranger on the internet, just please understand that I'm the kind of person that likes reaching out to people, and if you have like something that you want to talk to me about, dude, I will fucking listen to you. I will reply to you. I will take the time out of my day to do so. I love you. Please be safe and be kind to yourself, and you know, just treat yourself with understanding, because we all go through really horrible shit sometimes, and we just need to find a way to deal with it all and build a support network.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Love you.
We love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.